Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remain standing and remove your hats as the Jackson County Office of Sheriff Honor Guard Unit presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Father Jeff Rose from St. Francis de Sales High School offers today's invocation.
Almighty God, we thank you for another beautiful Pure Michigan day, and we thank you for having us all arrive here safely to enjoy today's race. Keep our drivers and teams safe as they compete for us today, and we ask this all with great faith, hope, and love. Amen.
Here today to honor America with the singing of our national anthem, please welcome Michigan International Speedway's own Lisa Bascom.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
In the manufacturer's backyard, it's Michigan International Speedway. We could have a new winner here today. Paul Menard starts from the pole. Tyler Reddick coming from 10. We'll be right back at Michigan.
We have a first-timer in our Xfinity Series booth, so let's get to know Bubba Wallace. Started racing at a young age in and around Charlotte. Got a big Truck Series win here at Michigan just a few years ago. And the highlight, without question, 2018 Daytona 500 when he was a runner-up. And he can get it done on track and off. He is quite the drummer. And today he went with polka dots. I went with stripes. I hope that's not an indication of things to come. Bubba, we're glad you're here with Kevin Harvick and myself. Welcome in, buddy.
Thank you. I'm excited. My debut here. Michigan's always been a good place to me, so why not come up from a bird's eye view and give that a try?
You both have won here, and I've always heard this place is a driver's track. Why do you guys like it so much, Kevin?
Well, there's a lot of speed, and it's very line sensitive. And I think as you look at the two grooves today, you'll see the very bottom of the racetrack and one groove up. So you want to stay off of those seams for the most part, but I think you can also use them to your benefit at times in turn 3 and 4. So it'll be interesting to see where the preferred groove is to pass, because the preferred groove to race is going to be groove 2.
The one word that really describes Michigan, speed, speed, speed. Where does handling come into play, Bubba?
As soon as you tug off the wall to make the corner, and if the back end doesn't stick or the front end just kind of pushes through with the front tires, it's not a fun day. So we do talk about and brag about the speed here, but it becomes a trouble if your car isn't set up right.
A lot of details when it comes to being successful at this place, Kevin.
Well, we talk about details, and a lot of that comes to pit road. And I think if we have green flag pit stops in the last stage of this race and it comes down to getting to pit road, the race could be won or lost getting onto pit road, but also with pit strategy.
Could be also won on a restart. We had 10 cautions in this race a year ago. If we get a number like that today, a lot of restarts. You better get after it, and likely you'll want to be in that outside lane. It's time to go trackside and get the command to fire engines here at Michigan.
Race fans, it's time for the most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command to start the engines, please welcome today's Grand Marshal, Master Sergeant Rodney Gray.
On behalf of Brad Keselowski's Checkered Flag Foundation, drivers, start your engines!
Great job, Rodney. The engines are fired. Let's get ready to rev in the Irish Hills.
Just finished up qualifying at Michigan. We were super loose, almost wrecked it, but we knew we didn't have the single car speed. Some other guys did, but we have really good race speed. So,
hey race fans, it's Christopher Bell. We're walking out to driver introductions. Qualified second today. Should be an exciting race. Tune in.
It's all about the Irish Hills of Michigan.
We can't wait to see what's going to happen next.
This is going to be something, huh?
Let's get ready to rock and roll here.
The green flag in the air.
Hang on, hang on, hang on.
That was impressive.
This could be the race for the win at Michigan. We'll never forget this moment. Such a fun racetrack, Michigan International Speedway. Xfinity teams racing here for the 28th time today. Good to have you with us on FS1. And I am hoping for an ending today like we got 7 days ago at Pocono. We went to overtime. Cole Custer was the guy leading on that restart with 2 laps to go. But here comes Tyler Reddick. Reddick's going to win, right? It would be his 3rd of the year. Final lap. Final turn, there's Custer flexing his muscles. He drives off to the checkered flag, gets his 3rd win of the year. He'll start 6th this afternoon. Let's go from the driver's seat with a 0-0.
Hey Cole, this is the Fox booth. Congratulations on a great win last week. What an exciting last lap. How has that momentum led into this week, and how's your weekend gone so far?
It's been good. You know, I hope we don't have to make it that exciting this week, but our Jacob Company Mustang has been really good all weekend. Hopefully we can get a win for Ford in their backyard, but I don't know, it's never been my best track, so I'm just trying to learn every time I'm out here.
Hey Cole, it's Bubba. Best of luck today. What do you think, the success is for today? What do you think it's going to take to get your car into victory lane? And I hope to share some custard with you after the race too.
That would be awesome, but I don't know, I think we need to find clean air somehow. I think we're going to have to see how our cars like in traffic and adjust for that, but if we can find out how to get in clean air, that's going to be huge.
All right, brother. I'm sure you're good at that, and you'll figure it out. Best of luck. Have fun.
Thank you, guys.
The Fords are strong. Paul Menard on the pole. We go green after a break on FS1. Michigan International Speedway, not as unique as Pocono last week, but it does have interesting characteristics, Kevin.
Well, it has really long straightaways, and for me, the most inviting thing that happens here at Michigan is it invites you to drive it deep into the corner, and that's not the right thing to do. So for me, that's always the thing that I have to tell myself, don't drive it in the corner too far.
Yeah, absolutely. Turn 3, you don't get to feel the sensation of speed until you get there. And when you carry that speed, especially last year and a little bit this year too, you dive off in there, it flattens out. There's not as much banking as turn 1, and you're just kind of sliding on, hanging on for dear life.
Now time to go racing at MIS. First, we hear from our pit reporters. Ladies first. Good afternoon, Jamie Little.
Good afternoon, Adam. Well, 20-year-old Las Vegas Noah Gragson had his best qualifying effort of the year earlier today. He'll roll off 4th. And after that qualifying effort, he talked to me about the rough patch that this team has gone through in May. But he says after the break, the last 2 weeks, he feels like they've really turned a corner. The team is firing on all cylinders, and he as a driver, he feels like he is better. Today could be the day this rookie drives it into victory lane for the first time. Regan Smith?
Well, Jamie, other rookie, Justin Haley, rolls off in 13th place today. Not the qualifying effort he wanted, but this was one of the cars that everybody pegged had the potential to run with the big 3 today. It was very fast in yesterday's practice. If he's going to do that, though, he's going to have to do so without his normal crew chief, Nick Harrison, who did not make the trip up here this weekend. He is at home with an illness right now. So on the pit box will be Chris Rice, the team manager. He'll be helping make the calls. Alex Yance is the crew chief for the this weekend on this race car.
No offense to Chris Rice, but that's a big loss. Nick Harrison has 2 Xfinity wins here at Michigan.
Yeah, and I think when you look at that communication and the way that things go on the pit box, it definitely throws a dynamic in there that is new. And when you have a young driver, it becomes something that you don't want to shake things up. But you want to shake things up as little as possible when you have a young driver that you're trying to teach new racetracks and new things about new cars. The one thing I want to go back to is Jamie there. She said Noah felt like he had matured. You've been through this. What does that mean?
I think you just start showing up to the track with more confidence and knowing how to set your car up in the right spot to make the right moves and put yourself in a spot to eventually win the race.
Paul Menard takes the outside lane. It's time to make it happen here at Michigan.
No help behind him. Top cover tight. Still outside. Outside 9, no gap, outside. Line with him, still clear for now. 52 coming with a run to the outside quarter.
Well, and you see Paul Menard just take off right there, and the 2 guys right behind him in the outside lane take off with him. And one big reason for that, especially on the original start, is Christopher Bell does not want to drive down in that corner with somebody on his right rear quarter panel because he does not know where the grip level is yet. So that inside lane backed up a little bit, mainly because I would assume that Christopher just trying to make sure he makes it through the first lap and not spin out on the inside of somebody.
I've made that mistake before, driving it in there thinking you had all the grip in the world, and that back end comes around and that's it. And the guy on the outside of you is just along for the ride as well.
Nemechek from 8th to 2nd. Another one of those drivers paying off in that outside lane.
Yeah, and in that outside lane, you're at an advantage when you start the race. So that's the preferred groove, and obviously John Hunter is very aggressive on the restarts anyway, and he definitely made some ground up right off the bat.
Bell had fallen back to 5th. He's jumped back up to 3rd. Gragson is 4th. And here comes Tyler Reddick. We knew he would be aggressive. Qualified 10th today.
Oh, come on, Adam. How'd you know that?
Bold prediction, right?
Yeah.
He's always exciting to watch.
And as I watched practice yesterday, Christopher Bell looked like he had a really strong car for the first 2 or 3 laps compared to the guys that I was looking at. So I think as you look at a short run, I think Christopher Bell definitely needs to make ground earlier on in a couple runs.
Contact here, 20 and 9, Bell and Gragson.
That's just a little bit of momentum built up by the 20. Looks like the 9 was trying to get his stuff gathered up, coming off a 2 there, and Bell was like, we got to go, so he just gave him a shove, got by the car on the inside.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is, too, is you got to make a decision right there. And Christopher saw him slip up there, and he chose to push him instead of try to put himself too wide on the inside because he knew if he got hung too wide on the inside that the guy behind him was going to have a heck of a draft off of 2 cars side by side.
Now, we talked about the guys moving in the outside lane. Brandon Jones started third inside lane. He's now dropping beyond the top 10. And here comes Allgaier, qualified 12th. Got a little help from his teammate. That's the 8 of Jeb Burton behind him.
We've seen Jeb make the most out of driving that 8 car as he's gone. Oh, got some
spinner. Trouble early, a couple of vehicles involved. One is the 90 of Dylan Bassett, the 07 of Ray Black Jr. also went around. Early caution, a theme we have seen in recent years at this place. Bassett making his second career start. He and his brother Ronnie have shared that 90 from time to time in the early portion of 2019. What happened here, fellas?
There's the move. He dove down in the corner, thought he could make the pass early. The back end came around and ended up eventually taking out the 07.
They were scored 24th and 25th. Caution out for the first time. Paul Menard started on the pole, and he's on point right now.
Hey, well, welcome back. Sorry, I'm new to this.
What do we have down there on pit road about the 4-car, guys?
I don't know who the 4 is, but I don't know.
Bubba, the 4 is your guy. It is your guy, Bubba.
Now, see, if I had been in the booth, I would have just eased into. Of course, the 4 is Ross Chastain. Boyer just let you have it.
So can we get this straight? Okay, I knew who was driving the 4. I didn't know the 4 car was my car on pit road. That's why I said I don't know who the 4 is. It came out wrong. He loves bringing this up every time I see him. He was like, you know who's driving the 4 this week? Ross Chastain.
It was a fun moment, so don't be Debbie Downer here and try to bring up what the excuse was. It was a funny moment. Just live with it.
It was. I'll take it.
And your coach was Regan Smith. I blame him.
Yeah. Regan struggled a little bit.
You should always blame the coach, but in this case, the coach tried to hand the entire playbook to the player. The player didn't want the playbook. I had a notepad with everything on it. Bubba said, "You just hold on to that. Tell me what to say later."
Yeah. Hey, we made it work. We had a great day.
I appreciate it.
It was a lot of fun on pit road, and it was very warm too. You talked about how warm it was in the booth, Kevin. It was warm on pit road.
Yeah. Well, the 4 car is Ross Chastain.
Oh, look at there.
And he did race last night in the truck race.
How did he do?
He finished 10th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Top 10. There you go.
Scored points in both stages. Not a bad start today. Chastain, 15th right now under caution.
It's crazy how lap 1, everybody's running totally different lines than they were in practice. Race pace is definitely going to fall off more. Copy that. It was supposed to seem like running lower, but it's not going to change. I'm just...
Now, we would say that's Jeb Burton, but you really don't need to say who that is because the accent kind of gives it away. And I saw Father Ward down in the garage. Those two really have done a great job working together to build this program.
Yeah, they have. And you know, I think as you hear those comments right there, and he's right. You know, when you drive into turn 1, you have no choice but to fall into line to where you start the race, inside or outside. And sometimes that's not where you've been driving. But, you know, usually this track progresses as we go through the race weekend, and that bottom lane gets a little more rubber. These guys were on the racetrack early. It wasn't quite as grippy. The Cup cars got out there, and we wore the bottom lane out because our cars are, you know, a little bit slower and a little bit different, and we can move around the racetrack. So that bottom lane is going to be more effective than it was for these guys in practice today.
Kevin, Tuesday on Fox, all eyes will be on Alex Morgan, Carly Lloyd, and Megan Rapinoe as they lead the U.S. women's national team against Thailand in group play. Coverage begins 2 Eastern time. All matches of the 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup live on Fox, FS1, and the Fox Sports app. And we had on Race Hub this week, you doing the jersey unveil, Bubba.
Yeah, that was cool. I didn't even know. They were, hey, here's a jersey. Excited for that. I've gotten into the soccer world a couple of years ago, and I've really, from playing video games, I understood the game a little bit, and now I'm cheering on our team, so hopefully they can bring it home.
You start talking video games, you're going to expose Harvick and I on age real quick.
My son, he'll ask me, he'll like, Dad, you know, how do you do this or how do you do that? And I'm like, I have no idea. Just start pushing buttons.
Just call me and I'll come over there. We'll race.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. We're good.
We had the initial start. Now we get our first restart each time. Going back to the lane thing, Menard goes to the outside, and here's what's interesting. Nemechek goes from 8th to 2nd. His reward, the inside lane on the restart.
Well, I think as you progress through these restarts here, the inside lane's going to get a little bit better because those guys are going to become a little bit more aware of the grip level down there. So it'll be interesting to see how hard he charges. But a lot of it's going to come down to who's connected, who's close in the lanes. But in the end, the outside lane is still going to prevail here early, I would say.
Yeah, it's just a big momentum game. Again, the outside lane, like you said, it will take off here. But again, you start building up a little bit more courage for John Hunter diving off in there for the first time. We'll see how aggressive he'll be.
Little wiggle for Menard as we return to the green flag.
Line, 20 in line, still outside. Still 2 by 2, 2 by 2, still outside, stay low. Still outside. Still out there at your bumper, still out there. Still out there. 1 car gap behind the 00. If he clears you can get up. Half back 20. Side by side, 1 back, you're clear up. Half back 9 now.
Tyler Green walking John Hunter Nemechek through the restart.
But he did a great job too, because right there you're just trying to minimize the damage. You know that you're at a disadvantage on that inside lane, and they did a good job of finding a hole in 3rd place, so you technically only lost, or he only lost 1 spot.
That's a win compared to what we saw on the initial start.
Unless the caution comes out, then he will be back on the bottom, starting 3rd.
Congratulations, right? Reddick peeked down low, nothing there. And this is for the top spot. Custer is there, and here comes Bell down to the inside of Menard.
2 bottom with the 23.
I've seen that move before. I think I pulled it off in that truck win.
And that's what we were talking about earlier. When you pull out to make that move and you get hung and you don't finish the pass, that car that is behind those 2 cars just gets a huge run. So you'll see these guys have to make decisions all day, and now you see Christopher Bell hung down there, and that's all a result of what happened off of turn 2 last time when he tried to go 3 wide into turn 3, and he's gonna get up here and oh, we got another one in the wall.
This is a rookie, Riley Herbst, into the wall, driving for Joe Gibbs Racing. A lot of debris, and now problems for Jeb Burton. We didn't see a caution for Herbst. Okay, now we get one.
Let's get it fired up.
Dueling issues. One for Herbst. The second portion of that was Burton, and he's got a tire
He's got to be
down.
really careful right here because that right front tire has come apart, and you know it's going to rip the fender off if he goes too fast, or you know it comes apart more. And you see Riley here had big trouble. You see that tire flapping.
That's really the hardest thing, though. You got to take it easy when you're trying not to go a lap down, and you know you can get back and keep going, but you got to tell yourself to look at the big picture here. Don't go too fast. Don't tear off the fender because you still need it. And this car is still in good shape. I don't think there was any damage.
See him coming off of turn 4. This is where things first happen. There's Herbst popping the wall.
Did you get some help there?
Dylan Bassett also had some issues as we saw the 90 under caution rolling around.
Looked like he might have got hit in the left rear and shot him into the wall to the right.
It's like maybe somebody crossed his bumper.
Tough weekend for the driver out of Las Vegas. This is Burton coming off of turn 2.
So he just lost it.
Let's listen in to what they were saying under caution.
2 cars screwed me. He just pulled up the hill and took the air off of me.
Yeah, that's the challenges we have, fighting for that air. And, you know, to Jeb's point, you don't know what that car is going to do majority of the time. When somebody, for example, yesterday I was following Harvick in practice, and it was like he was mirror driving, trying to take my air away, and I'm like, I don't know if the front end's going to take off or if I'm going to get sideways here. And you see Jeb I guess he wasn't ready for it there.
What's up down there, Jamie?
Well, Riley Herbst just pulled it in. Remember, he's in a backup car, started in the back, made some good forward progression, but said it was so edgy. And then he had that incident, and he said he was definitely helped. The team on the radio, though, just said they are done. 18 car out for the day, Regan.
Well, we just heard a very animated Jeb Burton on the radio about that spin. The plan for these guys was to get it to pit road, change the tires, get that all taken care of, put the roof flap down. When you spin on these high-speed racetracks, the roof flaps come up as well as the hood flaps. They're going to repair that stuff, pull on the fenders just a little bit, and get him back on the track.
Burton has made 2 starts this year. Both times finished inside the top 10. He's in jeopardy of missing that today. Big damage for Herbst.
That's why you don't pull up in front of me in practice.
Yeah, you know, I don't I don't know what that means, but obviously there was a moment in practice, and it looked, we were talking off air right there, that corner flattens out really fast off of turn 2, and especially when you're in that second lane. And you know, I think Jeb was just in a spot there where there was a car high and a car low, and the 2 started to come up, and it just got worse for him, and wound up, looked like he just lost it.
You run out of real estate there quick, and when you, like you said, we have so much wheel into it, it's just all of a sudden you're looking at the inside and the inside wall, and luckily there's enough room back there. He didn't have to do too much damage and got back going.
Isn't it funny though, the little things that this evil driver remember in the car?
Yes. Oh, I still hold some grudges. Maybe a couple against you from practice moves or something. Yeah, that's how we are, though. That's
right.
How we are.
You have to be wired that way.
Yes.
All drivers are bitter, aren't they, Regan?
Well, and it's funny to hear two sides of the story. I talked to both of those guys about that practice incident. From Jeff Burton's perspective, he came out in front of Tyler Reddick, held him off for 10 laps, and was really excited. He thought, I got a great race car. We held off Tyler Reddick. That's a good thing. The other side of that story was Tyler Reddick, and as we heard him on the radio just now say, that's why you don't come up in front of me in practice. He was frustrated that Jeb got up and ruined his run and his momentum during that practice run. So, two sides of the story, and it's still playing out in the race even.
Burton's made a couple of pit stops. He's 35th, 1 lap down. That's the bad news. Good news is they've taken their time getting it repaired. We know we're getting a caution at the end of stage 1, which means he'll be back on the lead lap. Most likely we'll get the free pass there. Chase Briscoe is 9th right now. Let's check in with him. Walking and talking with Regan.
Hi, Chase. So your family has a long history of racing and a long background of racing. Your dad included. He drove some, or your grandpa drove some.
Yeah, my grandpa started owning sprint cars in 1976. Had a lot of the legends in sprint cars drive for him. I mean, literally anybody that was a who's who in sprint car racing drove for my grandpa, it seems like. Then my dad raced for over 20 years, had over 200 wins. Sprint cars has always been a huge passion of mine and still is, and that's why I still go do it every chance I get.
So do you now, at this point, being the one that's made it to the Xfinity Series, you got bragging rights?
A little bit. My dad still gives me a hard time a lot of the time. Always tells me how to drive, and honestly, my dad's really, really good. He's probably one of the biggest helps each and every weekend. He has an eye for it, and you know, when you get that praise, it means a lot. And the reason I'm kind of where I'm at is because of my dad and how hard he's been on me. It's been able to make me learn a lot more than what I feel like other people would.
Chase, we appreciate you walking and talking with us.
Thank
Good
you.
luck this weekend.
Appreciate it, man.
My favorite Chase Briscoe story had to move his wedding date because the NASCAR banquet got changed at the end of the year. And when you look at what they've done, Kevin, you're his teammate. He has just gotten better and better.
Yeah, they really have. And I think a lot of that is just track time and just working together and getting that experience to be able to go out and just do what you do in a race. It's much different than just driving the car and sitting in the simulator and all those things that come with that. But you go back to his wedding. I'll never forget when he tweeted that, and I was sitting there with Delanna, and she's like, oh, those young kids, they just aren't that organized yet. And so it's funny to hear little stories like that because, you know, you don't live it every day. You don't understand that you have to schedule everything in your life around it. And there are things that happen at the end of the year. But they've done a great job, and Chase just keeps getting better week after week.
Going to be 12 laps to go in the stage when we get the green flag here. And this ought to be interesting. I mean, 12 laps is a long time, but this will be a good little shootout. And once again, Menard going outside, Nemechek down to his left.
Just barely not clear right there as he got in there, but he's definitely got a little more aggressive that time, and you see him get underneath the 12 and have to check him up a little bit, and Christopher Bell's got a huge run.
Bell came off a 2 like he was shot out of a cannon. They're side by side for the top spot going to turn 3.
And you see the 12 of Paul Menard there do everything that he could do to side draft to slow that 20 car down the straightaway to try to keep him on the inside. Because he knew if he got by him that it was going to be the same difficulty that he was going to have to get back by. If the caution comes out, you're in second on the bottom, and it just spirals out of control from there.
You're always told when you come here, first thing you learn is learn how to keep up momentum. And I keep going back to that, and you keep that thing wound up. That's why we run the middle groove here. We don't really go to the bottom once it gets single file like this. And when you start following other cars, you're just trying to search for that clean air, trying to make the shorter track. But some things you just got to keep the momentum wound up, and hopefully it plays in your favor.
On board Justin Haley, 11th.
See the 19 of Brandon Jones get really loose right there.
He was 10th. And there's that lack of momentum going the wrong way in a hurry.
Absolutely. he'll lose a couple spots here. And it's so hard. This place, you're going so fast. You're so on edge. And those moments right there, it is not uncommon for that to happen. Barely got in behind the 86 there.
Yeah, that was the battle of the Brandons. Jones and Brown give it to the 86.
You see he's just following who's at the one car there and just has not the best of air on his nose and yanks it off the wall, gets in there a little light, tries to stay in it. There's only, so you can go so far. You think, I got it, I got it, I got it. And he saved it, but he lost a ton of time and a ton of track position.
These things look edgy.
They are.
They look very edgy, you know, this weekend. But after that truck race last night, I watched that truck race. I mean, those things spun out and wrecked, and they were all over the place. I did. It was past my bedtime, but I did stay up that late.
He got an afternoon nap before.
Yeah, I did.
Deuces are wild here. Reddick driving around Cindric. That's for 5th.
Talking about being on edge. Who do you think the most on edge driver in the field is right now? The 2 car.
Yeah, but he feels like he's in control. That's the scary part about Tyler Reddick is, you know, we look at it and we're like, whoa, that was a big moment. He's like, that's fine.
Yeah, it's easy.
It'll be fine. That was just, I thought that was fun. And you're like, okay, go for it.
What's going on, Jamie?
How about Paul Menard, Adam? First race of the year. Practice, he was 16th and 15th. So this morning he goes out and qualifies. Didn't think he had anything for the pole, so he went back to the cup hauler. Well, he captured the pole, and he has led every lap so far. He's a little bit free, but with the heat cycles on the tires, he feels like it's coming to him and getting better. But he's trying to hold that hard-charging 20 off behind him.
Last 9 races here, 9 different winners. Menard, the only one in the field that has a Michigan victory, driving for RCR back in 2014. Bell closing in, and the 00 starting to rattle the noise meter a little bit. 6th inside of Cindric.
It is rough down there on that apron. You see those cars go right past the start-finish line, and there is a huge bump that you think is going to rip everything underneath the car off.
Yes, I did it for qualifying, and I went all the way down there, and I was like, oh, I regret this. As soon as I hit that first bump, I was looking at the sky.
Reddick is on the move. 4th is where he is in the running order. Menard out in front of Bell, but not by much. 8 to go, stage 1. You don't miss anything as we're side by side. About to wrap up stage one for the Xfinity Series at Michigan. Paul Menard started on the pole. He's led all 27 laps here today. Bell, Reddick, Nemechek, Gregson, the top 5. You know, John Hunter Nemechek, after a rough Pocono, has had a real nice start today. Went to that backup car and really never gained the traction they would have hoped for last Saturday. Today, good in practice, nice qualifying effort, and solid inside the top 5.
Yeah, John Hunter's been, progressively getting better and better throughout the year, and it just comes with time, man. You show up, and he's obviously had a great career in the trucks, and felt like he was ready to step up. And I'm sitting here talking like a veteran. I mean, I'm only a couple races older than him, and you just come in again with confidence, and you don't realize how much you don't know until you're out there, you're around the veterans like Harvick and those guys, and you see certain things and you pick up on that and you put that in the memory bank for when you come back here. So it's I remember being in those shoes, coming to these places for the first time in an Xfinity car and experiencing how edgy they are and how fast this place is and how treacherous turn 3 is, and putting it all together, and then you come back and it's like, okay, I know what to do and how to attack it next time.
Well, the other thing is, I mean, there's GMS is still a pretty young Xfinity team, so you've got an up-and-coming driver along with an up-and-coming team that is trying to put it all together.
Jamie Little reported earlier when Riley Herbst hit the wall, done for the day. We were just informed he has been released from the infield care center. Good news there. Final lap, first stage. Menard leading Bell by 1/4 of a second. And back behind them, racing for some stage points. 22 is Cindric, 00 is Custer. The 7 is Justin Allgaier. In fact, the last 2 in this battle, the drivers that won the stages at Pocono last week. Menard hadn't been in an Xfinity car since last July. Then he comes here, starts on the pole, and wins stage 1. Bell is second.
Good job bringing it home there, Adam.
Not bad.
Yeah.
It wasn't as good as you at Charlotte, but I'm doing my best, all right? Reddick finishes 3rd. Nemechek, Gregson in the top 5. Really good start for Noah. Talked about Cindric, Allgaier, and Custer in the top 10. Annette and Haley also scoring points. We're 30 laps in for the Xfinity Series at Michigan. June 8th. Here's what happened on this date. We start in 1949. George Orwell's 1984 is published. 1966, NFL and AFL have their merger announced. 1969, the Yankees retire Mickey Mantle's legendary number 7. And in 84, the Ghostbusters movie is released into theaters. So with that, I say...
Don't even start. I don't even want to hear it. I know where you're going.
Yeah, I know you do. You would have went with me. Did you know where I was going, Bubba?
Not at all.
Bubba didn't even know where I was
before
going.
I'm on time, so I'm...
I was going to say, you don't have to answer the question. Who are you going to call?
Oh, Ghostbusters.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Okay.
And now you know. And now you know why Harvick was waving me off. Good opening stage for Noah Gragson, who ends up 5th.
Go through this stage. Try to keep all the track position we can get, or we can do 4. Try to make sure we got a good read on the car and get it set up for the end.
I think we do 4, but that's my call.
Tyler Reddick hits his pit stall. He goes over the line. They're going to have to back him up. That race car started off a little bit too tight and was building too tight too soon for him. They're going to put 4 tires on his race car and try to free him up just a little bit. On the right side of the screen, John Hunter Nemechek. He's been too loose from the late center to the exit with that race car. Jamie.
Paul Menard in the 12, 2 tires. It was a code word. He also got a little adjustment air pressure as well. The 20, Christopher Bell going for 4 tires. A little snug landing in 1. Not too bad in 3, and air pressure adjustment as well. The 12, nice work.
Custer comes off pit road +6. Nice effort by him. And you see a little bit of a theme at the top. Those 2 tires. And the debate was on. What do you do, 2 or 4? And it's not just about what you're doing here, but how that sets you up for the rest of the race.
Well, I think when you look at Cole Custer, that first pit stall paid off really big for him right there. He gained 6 positions and was able to gain a bunch right there of what he had lost on the track.
Let's visit with John Hunter Nemechek. Real good afternoon for him so far.
Hey, John Hunter. This is Kevin Harvick, Bubba, and Adam up in the Fox TV booth. Solid first stage for you right there. I guess my question is, you've been on the inside a couple times on those restarts. How treacherous is it down there in that bottom lane?
It's definitely pretty sketchy down there. Got loose underneath Paul that last time. Just being on your right side, taking all the air off the right side, nothing to lean on side force-wise. But I think we're going to line up on top here, so it should be good. When you're on the bottom, you're just trying to maintain track position and keep moving forward.
Yeah, hey, John, it's Bubba. Tell Chad to get that thing fixed up. I worked with him, so he's got a good package for here. So you're starting on the top here. Don't disappoint.
For sure, should be exciting.
All right, buddy. Good luck. Keep up the good work.
It has to pain any driver to use the word maintain, doesn't it? A couple of early cautions. 3rd of the day for the end of stage 1. It was Paul Menard who won it. Stops complete to end stage 1. Tyler Reddick went from 3rd to 10th on this exchange.
All right, don't talk about it. Don't worry about it. We're 33 laps in. Got a lot of racing left to do. Just get your head back right. Let's get back in the game. All good. Sorry, guys.
Guys, that is a snapshot of this race team as a whole. I asked Randall Burnett how much fun they were having with Tyler Reddick in that race car. He said no matter what happens on the racetrack, whether it's practice or the race, we have fun. We laugh about it. Tyler laughs about it. When things are going good, it's amazing what the chemistry of a race team can be like. That's what this team is experiencing right now. So much to the point where after that radio, Tyler joked with him and said, how do you guys know I didn't do that on purpose just so I could pass more cars here?
Well, passing the cars on track today has been a little bit more difficult than what it was last weekend at Pocono. So I'm going to say that was not intentional. And you see the Xfinity fastest pit stops, Cole Custer leading them off at 6.2.
Well, you know, I think as you look at that first run, he passed more cars than probably anybody on the racetrack. He was able to actually make several passes and get himself up there. So now he's going to have to make a few more passes. But I was on Race Hub this week with Andy Petrie, and he said no matter what happens, he'll laugh and joke, and if he has a bad pit stop, it's never anybody's fault. It always just, oh well, we're going to move on and we're going to go at it again. And I think that's exactly what Regan is referring to is how much fun they're having.
Justin Haley restarting 3rd after a 2-tire stop.
For racy conditions. Is that racy a dirt term?
Yeah, I mean, I think we only really need to start getting concerned when he uses like understeer and oversteer in paddock.
Okay. That's coming up. Just don't worry. Hang on.
Chris Rice in for Nick Harrison today. Front row, Menard and Custer both got 2. Jeb Burton, who brought out that caution earlier, restarting 29th. He did get the free pass. Stage 2 underway here this afternoon. That's a little dirt tracking, right, Haley?
That's racing.
That's racing right there.
Bell able to come through, the loss of momentum, and there's the 2 of Tyler Reddick delivering on his promise. He's going to rally.
The risk versus reward of trying to be so aggressive on these restarts to get that track position, but also not putting yourself in a spot to tear up your car and end up your day is tough.
And that spot you were talking about, did you see how close he came to trying to clear himself right there? And he realized at the last second there was not enough room right there in the 2 car of Tyler Reddick.
How much of the early portion of this race, in particular on restarts, is putting together a game plan for later on, experimenting and just figuring out what you have?
I mean, that's why there are stages now. That's why the races are so long. You get time to kind of build your program throughout the race. Obviously, you want to start off, you know, in practice with the best piece you got. And we always know that when you in practice, the car is never the same once you drop the green flag. It never works out like that. So you're always constantly adjusting on it. And here with the strategy, you can pull 4 tires, 2 tires. If you're a little free like what we're seeing today, a lot of guys on the edge, we were talking about it off the air. 2 tires tightens it up a substantial amount here, so you could play that into your favor, how your car is handling and how it's reacting.
Here's that last restart.
It's definitely racy.
Yeah.
Definitely racy.
And you heard him. I mean, he was out of the gas several times there. He could tell that it was not going how he wanted it to go, and luckily he was in and out of the gas to keep himself out of trouble, but it was definitely racy.
Visor cam coming off of turn 4. This is Chase Briscoe. We appreciate him giving us this perspective.
When you see that big old mirror that he's got in the center of the roof right there, and that's you know, something that you'll definitely use a lot to try to keep yourself in the right lane on these restarts. So
this is just Michigan's just like Daytona, Talladega, especially just trying to stay in line. Where's that car behind you? Is he going to stay with you? Is he going to pull out? So it's always a guessing game. So you do look in the mirror here a lot more than other 1.5-mile tracks, 2-mile tracks.
Custer hanging around.
Be in line tight. Clear by 5 in front of him. You're better than him. We'll have to figure out a way to get around him. By 1.
Top 3 tight as they come into turn 1.
Yeah, and the one thing that I've noticed about Cole Custer's car is he's moved down the racetrack, and Paul Menard you actually see move down the racetrack to try to take the air off of the 00 there. So they're both on right side tires. So at first I thought the 00 might be on 4, but he's definitely just found a little different groove lower on the racetrack, and you can really see that bottom lane coming in.
You got to be careful with that as well, though. You cross that bottom seam, and the car starts to de-wedge, and it reacts a little bit differently than you expected. So that just all comes with experience and time and seat time.
Yeah, and it's amazing to me how different the entries are to turns 1 and turns 3. We talk about, how flat the entrance is to turn 3. And I came here a long time ago, and Jim Sauter was doing all the IROC testing, and he was talking about the light in turn 1. He said, whatever you do, if you're going to the bottom or if you're going to the middle, no matter where you're going, do not turn into that first corner until you pass that light. So for whatever reason, that's just some old school wisdom there.
Way old school.
Yeah.
This is the race for 10th. Ryan Sieg trying to get Austin Cindric, Jamie.
Well, you look at what the Penske cars did. They did opposite on that last pit stop. The 12 of Menard took right sides, but the 22 took 4. Now, I just talked to Goodyear, and they said the left sides that came off the 22 had excessive wear for what they would have expected. So now the question is, will the 12 get bit by that tire wear on the left side, since he did only take right sides only?
Yeah, we're about halfway through the second stage, Jamie. The other thing is, if you take 2 on that first set, you come back and get 4 at the end of stage 2, might open you up for a 2-tire stop, final one of the day. We'll see how it plays out. Tonight we've got 2 of the best rivalries in baseball headlining our coverage. Most of the country. We'll see the Cardinals take on the Cubs in the NL Central. Others will catch the Dodgers and the Giants. Coverage begins 7 Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Check your local listings. Your old high school classmate, Corey Seager, going to be playing shortstop for the Dodgers. And this for the race lead. Cole Custer driving underneath the Paul Menard, could not get there.
It's back to that momentum. Just Menard kind of doesn't really put on his door, just keeps that momentum built up in the middle groove, and motor's right on by.
Well, he's definitely figured out what it takes to make that bottom groove work, especially in turns 3 and 4. And in order to make that bottom groove work, you really have to get your entry right into turn 3 and get that thing so that the left side tires are right down on the white line. Otherwise, you get stuck in no man's land right against that first seam.
Turn 3, you can't describe it unless you are physically driving in there at 190, 200 mile an hour. It feels like it's off cambered and you're going the other way, like negative banking. And when it does that and you turn left to get down the bottom line, the rear end of the car gets light and it starts kind of steering you down the line and you're hanging on, and next thing you know you gas up because you got so much real estate up off. But the entry to that part, you get nightmares thinking about it.
Let's get more on Menard with Jamie.
Yeah, this run he fired off just a little bit tighter, but it was slowly coming to him, and he just now told his team it has stabilized. But if you look right there, right in the middle of the nose, he's got a little piece of debris. They're keeping an eye on it, not too concerned right now, but Paul's definitely watching his temps.
It seems like every time we come to Michigan, California, the other 2-mile oval fits this category too, debris on the grill at some point rears its head.
Yeah, there's a lot of hot dogs up here, Adam.
We're not at Martinsville. Brandon Jones, Justin Allgaier, that's 7th, right behind Nemechek. And Bell going after 2nd on the apron as we come across the start-finish line.
Well, and that's like we talked earlier, that's the danger of when you try to make a pass and don't have something happen, and then the guy behind you carries that momentum like Bubba has been talking about, and Cole has been really working that bottom, but Paul has moved down into his lane to try to put some dirty air on the front of his car. So
9 to go, stage 2.
280 is max for us. You're not getting above 280. So I got 10 more degrees. Yes, sir. Off the last number you gave us, you have 10 degrees off of that.
It's all about that debris on the grill, right?
Yeah, and these guys set the limits right on what they think is the max. So with all the things that are going on with the engine in today's world, you can't get them too hot, or they just start losing power and it starts damaging the engine. So in this track position game, you don't want to have to pit or let somebody go by to try to get the debris off the car. So they don't have far to go here, but definitely got to keep an eye on it because there's definitely some debris on the front of that car.
Saw Ryan Sieg in the 39 get by Briscoe up to 11th. That 39 car really good here in practice yesterday. He was so bad early in the race, they had to come down and make a stop, just get an adjustment, no tires on one of those early cautions, and kind of back and forth since then, unable to really crack the top 10 on a consistent basis.
Well, this place can do that to you in practice because you get a bunch of cycles on the tires and then you think your car is tight, so you keep loosening your car up, and if you don't put sticker tires on at the end of practice or make a long run at the end of practice, you really kind of lose sight of where you are. And then if you didn't do that and you start the race with sticker tires and you fill the thing up with fuel and you make adjustments to make your car looser, you see that a whole bunch here at Michigan because of the fact that it gets so tight in practice.
You said a word earlier, Bubba, momentum, and I feel like we just keep having that translate on track everywhere we go when we're looking at a battle.
Absolutely. I mean, look at the 7 here of Allgaier. He's trapped on the bottom just because those 3 cars on the top have the big mow, and he'll lose these 3 spots, and he tries so hard to keep it pinned on the bottom, but I mean, you're wide open down there. It may be fighting it a little bit, pedaling it, and it's just nothing you can do. Those guys are just in line, in sync, and motor on by. So you regather your thoughts, get your momentum built back up, and try to charge back and pass it back.
Probably don't sell Justin Haley enough. So consistent in his rookie season. Went to the championship 4 last year in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series, driving for GMS. Made the move to the Xfinity level, and he's really been positive through 12 races.
I need him to do really well. That's my pit crew on Sundays.
Oh, there you go.
Those are the ones that wave all the time. So, yeah, we like to have fun. So definitely pulling for them.
You want momentum of a different kind here, huh?
Absolutely. You take all the momentum you can in this sport.
Allgaier's been quiet. So has Briscoe.
I think when you look at Chase Briscoe, I thought they had a decent car in practice. I didn't see why they got shuffled back there, for that last stage and the restart there. But it just takes time to make up ground here. And then you pass 2 or 3 cars, and the group in front of you is a half a straightaway ahead of you because they've been nose to tail. And it takes a long time to make track position back up on the racetrack.
Uh-oh. Trouble again for Ray Black Jr. No caution yet. 4 to go, and he's well out of the way. So unless there's some debris, we likely will not get our 4th caution until we end this stage. 52, David Starr going a lap down. And the momentum there that was taken away from Menard managing the lap traffic has opened the door for Christopher Bell.
Well, you saw the back of the 12 car kind of slide as he went by that lap car, and it looked like he probably had to breathe the throttle, and that 20 car drove right up to him.
Talk so much about the big 3 this year. Menard has dominated this race, but right behind him, that trio of drivers that we have looked to each and every week in the Xfinity Series. Bell, Custer, and Reddick. They've won the last 6 races, 8 of 12 in 2019.
And that guy, you know, he restarted 10th. And we talked earlier about how he's been able to make his way through traffic a little bit better than most other cars. And you see him up here in 4th, you know, with this lead pack. So I like the way that Tyler Reddick is able to maneuver a little better than the rest of them.
Mention the big 3. Here's what they've done this year. This graph is incredible, because when you look at the dips for both Bell and Custer, you see they've had problems. And then you look at Reddick, and he just goes straight across. Average finish 4.2.
They have been so solid this year, Adam. You know, and we talk about this so much. And he's switched teams and gone to RCR, and I think it's a great fit. And the things that he does in the car, and you know, the things that Richard does out of the car are a great match.
1 to go, stage 2, and this is for the lead. And remember this: stops at the end of stage 1. Bell got 4 tires. Menard got 2. Could that be the difference? New man out front is Christopher Bell as we hit the backstretch.
And Cole Custer is getting excited. He wants those boys to race, get side by side, so he can make a late pass here, an attempt to, at least.
Custer is there. He too got a pair of tires on that first stop of the afternoon. Bell waited. Finally, the door opened, and he pounced. With 1 to go in the stage, he gets the top spot, and he's going to claim the green and white checkered flag for the 6th time this season. That is a playoff point. Bell, Menard, Custer, Reddick, Haley, your top 5. About halfway home in the Irish Hills of Michigan. Doing play-by-play for NASCAR on Fox tomorrow, and he should be voicing this over because he's all about history, right? Knows so much about the automobile. But since we're 70 miles west of Detroit, we have to remind you of all that comes with racing in this part of the country, and that's the Woodward Dream Cruise. This is Auto Haven up here, you know?
I really thought you were going to tell me that was Mike Joy working on that line.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Because of the abuse that I've been taking up here so far today from Bubba and my age. And I just asked him, I'm like, what are those buildings over there in turn 3? He's like, there used to be grandstands there. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Yeah, there did. I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah, there's Mike Joy.
Yep.
If Mike is watching, I universally apologize. I have nothing but respect for Mike, and I did not want to go down that road.
Blame it on Artie.
Yeah, I was going to say, Artie Kempner, guilty again. Keep an eye on what everybody does here, because we documented the tire situation last time. Some guys going 2, some going 4. And look at Jeb Burton, who's up to 14th. Great effort for them in that second stage. Heading your way, Regan.
Well, you talk about that tire situation. There was a very long debate on Tyler Reddick's radio as to what they're going to do. He hits his pit stall much smoother this time, right on the marks. That race car stayed neutral that entire run until he caught the cars in front of him. Started to get too tight. It's going to be 4 tires for him on the right side of your screen. Justin Haley, he was okay in turns 1 and 2, but way too tight in turns 3 and 4. That's where he's losing all his time. Jamie?
Paul Menard took rights only. He'll take 4 tires this time. Feels like his weakness is off at turn 4. The 20, Christopher Bell, a 4-tire stop again. A little bit loose to start, but definitely better on the long run. Air pressure adjustment as well.
On Bell, I say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. He goes 4 tires again and is able to win the race off pit road. Then it's Custer, Menard, Allgaier, and Reddick.
Yeah, Custer he benefited again because he didn't have as good a pit stop as the rest of them. But let's talk to Christopher Bell. Hey, Christopher, this is Kevin up in the Fox booth. Congratulations on winning that stage there. What are you fighting out there today?
Well, honestly, I'm pretty good. It was a little bit loose there to start stage 2. Those guys drove away from me, but seemed to help me out there at the end.
All right, buddy. Well, it's looking good out there. Keep it up. We'll be watching.
Thank you.
You saw the stat line. 6 stage wins this year. He had 6 all of 2018. This team has been on it. They can see their 4th victory of the campaign. He's in Michigan for our guy Kevin Harvick. Won one of the 2 races here last year, second in the other to teammate Clint Boyer. Let's talk about the win, not the one that got away, Kevin.
Yeah, you know, that was a really cool weekend just because myself and Keelan were up here. I got to bring him in the passenger side of the car to victory lane. So to me, that was a really cool dad moment, and that's kind of how when you get to be my age, you kind of judge yourself off of those types of moments. It's really I really enjoyed going to victory lane with my guys, but it was way more fun to go to victory lane with Keelan. So
I didn't enjoy it because I didn't win, so I'm not happy for it.
Sometimes up here with Kevin and me, Bubba has to have us define what we're talking about during the breaks because we've graduated to these different stages of life, right, Bubba?
Yes, it's we're all across the board here, having a lot of fun, kind of bizarre, conversations, but all in all, a good time.
Bizarre as in like out of your generation bizarre?
Yes. That's
where I figured you were going with that.
The beard gives me a couple years, but let's not forget, I'm only 25.
Have you noticed, Adam, like when we start talking about stuff like that, like he just goes silent. Like he's like, I don't want to offend him.
You guys out.
talk about that.
Yeah.
It's okay if you address my hairline. I won't be offended.
I can't just throw age at you every time. I let you talk and say some things, and
just
it
most of the
builds
time. Yeah, just most of the time.
Yeah.
And I just insert my own foot into my mouth. You just pile on.
Today it's a shirt and tie for this duo. Tomorrow it's their fire suit. NASCAR on Fox brings you coverage from Michigan International Speedway. It is the Firekeepers Casino 400, 1 p.m. Eastern Time with race day. We're green shortly after 2. All of the coverage.
Nothing?
On FS1.
Not even like a mini Blaney comment?
How many races did you win here last year? And you didn't even get you didn't get on the board. Yeah. Let's watch what happened here on pit road. This is just a moment ago. Ooh. There it was, left of your screen. Noah Gragson into the backside of Brandon Jones. That's not good.
19 checked up in front of me. Getting in his box, I had nowhere to go. I was all the way right sides over the yellow line.
Yeah, and really what happened there was the 19 was waiting on the 1 to pull in his box, so he had to check up for the 1, and you're half the time you're looking at your tack trying to figure out what the speed is, and he just wound up running into the back of him.
Becomes an accordion effect.
Top 10 all day for Gragson. He'll restart 23rd. Bell goes outside lane. All those guys up front got 4 tires. Final stage, off and rolling.
Keep the 7. He's drug off you now. Side. Barely. In there full. Quarter. Clear. 7's going to be the momentum out back.
Well, it's the final stage, Adam, and here comes the 7. Always just decides to show up at the end of these races.
We used to always call you the closer. In the Xfinity series, I think it's Allgaier. Had some things not go his way at Pocono, but he was top 2, finished back-to-back runner-up spots at Dover and Charlotte, so he had some good things going his way.
Well, these guys are going to have their hands full now that Christopher Bell has control of this race because, he made his way to the lead right there at the end of stage 2, got 4 tires on, kept his track position, got a great restart right there, and is driving off from him right now. And it's kind of the opposite for Paul Menard there in the 12. He had so much control of the race early on, lost the lead, and now he's figured out what his car drives like in traffic.
I'm convinced Tyler Reddick doesn't need a spotter. And look at this.
Goodness.
Jeb Burton back up there.
That's Ross Chastain.
Is that Ross? Okay, perfect.
Chase Briscoe a part of that mix. All those guys right outside the top 10. Greg Gaulding in the top 15 today. 14th in the 08. He's doing a nice job.
They've had a couple moments this year where they've gotten really good finishes. So, for a small team, the finishes and the runs that you have like this today going, it means so much. And that, again, carries momentum. We talk about that big momentum where it carries into the races following that week. So, doing a great job today.
Those are teammates. Michael Annett in the 1, down in front of Jeb Burton in the 8. This is what I was talking about. Watch him slide up. I think we'll see it here from Reddick in the 2. Oh, there was some contact there, I think, huh?
Ooh.
Brandon Jones, he's been loose on a few of these restarts. We saw him get loose early in the race.
Uh-oh. Maybe a tire rub.
Yeah, Noah Gragson.
Tire smoke or something there into 1. 4. Set that fender just laying back on it. There's no support to it. Should be.
But he's 10th after restarting 23rd.
Yeah, and that's not what you want to see or smell from the inside of the driver's compartment, because you never can tell how bad it's rubbing, where it's rubbing, and oh, we got
easy. Spoke a little early on Greg Alding. Nice save, though. 5th caution of the afternoon.
As soon as we go to bragging on him.
To the right rear.
Definitely have some damage on the back of that one that they're going to have to address.
Chad Fincham, 42, 99 in front of him. Tommy Joe Martins.
Oh.
Stephen Light in the 01.
42 went there on the bumper of the 01. Lost all the air. Collected the 08.
We've seen that so many times today.
Yes, we have.
54 laps remaining. Bell, Custer, Allgaier, Menard, Nemechek, your top 5. Under caution for the 5th time today, it's the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Michigan International Speedway. Noah Gragson having some problems with that fender, so they have elected to come down, make a stop with 52 to go. Other drivers made stops, got some fuel. Let's listen in on Chase Briscoe.
Everything you got, save. Long gears, shutting off everything you got, saving here.
Guys, the 98 car, they are going to roll the dice if it does come down to this. I just looked at crew chief Richard Boswell. I said, can you make it? And he said, I don't know. And I made the hand signal, you going to roll the dice? He said, yeah, sure.
Well, and Regan, you can confirm this, Jamie can as well, but the number that I heard in the garage today was 50 laps. Now, that's a rough number. They pit with 53 to go, but you get some caution laps, that should be doable, right? What do you think? Okay, maybe not.
He's thinking.
Yeah. But what you guys know, I mean, if you're a couple, 3 laps outside your window, you get cautions here. Can you save enough?
You try.
Yeah, I mean, you know, you're just trying to put yourself in a position to where you think you can either make it or you can be on the good side of the track position game, you know, as it comes down to the end, because you just never know how these races are going to play out. Is it going to go green? Well, he's in a lot better position if it goes green than the guys that didn't pit, for sure.
Somewhere Larry Mack is cringing because drivers and a play-by-play guy are talking strategy. Here's our Mobile One race summary. Paul Menard led 56 laps today after claiming the pole this morning. Last 9 races at Michigan won by 9 different drivers, and Menard one of those back in 2014. So any more thoughts on strategy and what opportunities exist, Regan?
Well, yeah, sorry about that, Adam.
all good.
I've heard a number of different laps that guys can make it, more so today than any time. I remember this year I heard anywhere from 44 to 50, as you said, being the most. So I'm going to assume the 98 car is thinking if they can go 50 laps, they get a little bit of caution here that they may be able to make it. But, man, that's a stretch. When you got that much of a difference between companies, you really have to question if you can make it that far.
More drivers coming in now. And Annette came the last time as well, I do believe. And so the reason he would come back here doing what we had talked about, just top off the fuel tank. And there's no doubt Gregson's going to do that because they were the last off pit road. They have nothing to lose from a track position standpoint.
Well, I mean, you're going to take the green with 49 laps to go. So that's within the reason of the numbers that Regan is shooting up to us. So, you know, I think as you come to Michigan, and you know as you get towards the end of this race that you don't know how it's going to play out. Are you going to have a bunch of cautions, a bunch of restarts, or what is it? But a whole bunch of times it plays out into the fuel mileage game, and these guys are already playing that card to see if they can make it.
We've got to let Jamie weigh in on this. Jamie?
Well, Justin Allgaier, just wanted to update him. You know, he had a really good stop last time. They gained 3 positions, but as soon as the green flag dropped for the 3rd and final stage, he just said something was going on. He was plowing so bad, he was having to get off the gas the entire corner. Now, he's in 3rd right now, but definitely not happy with the handling, so keep your eye on Justin.
So the conversation for driver 7 is not fuel mileage. It's more about the handle of the race car. More bad news. Restart coming here. He'll be on the inside lane, front row. Bell and Custer, and the 20 goes outside.
Well, what will happen now is those guys that came into pit, they'll say, okay, we need this much fuel, you need to run this pace, you need to do everything you can to be half throttle down the straightaway and let off early. So there's a number of things that you can do, but it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out.
Those drivers that pitted restarting back around 14th and on back.
1 to the 7, still there, 20. Still there, even.
Oh.
Still there, room behind.
Slider, that's Chase Briscoe.
Hold her down, lock her down.
Careful with the tires now.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that the set of tires they just put on is probably they're ruined.
Yep, they're done.
You can definitely hear it now. Yeah, he's just going to get loose underneath him.
Yep, that's it.
That's the 99 of Tommy Joe Martins. I'd be interested to see the 22 of Cindric too, because he got hit a little bit there.
Took a little bit of damage on the left front. It's so hard to describe that feeling. You just go in there and hopefully it's going to stick. And when you're on the outside, you're just victim to it. And Chase Briscoe did everything. He did a nice job of keeping down to the fence here. Unfortunately, not the outcome they wanted. Ruined their tires, flat spotted. So take it easy going back. And I've been in that situation before. It's not fun.
Well, he's really lucky that he didn't get hit. So
that is true.
You know, he's out of tires. Obviously, those are ruined, and the fuel strategy is gone. But at least the car's not wrecked.
Exactly. You can salvage something out of this.
Fuel strategy gone for him, but all those others that pitted, this caution really helps them. Let's listen to the 99s group.
Not bad. I just got him. He just got right down on my door. I was still in the gas. Yeah, tail filler.
Well, he didn't get right down on his door. No. He just lost it. And, you know, you go in there behind all those cars, and the nose doesn't turn as good, the back doesn't turn as good, the air's choppy, and next thing you know, the car's just around. But that was no fault of the 98 for sure.
The back turned too good.
Yeah.
Hey, look over at our scoring pylon. Josh Williams is 9th. Jeb Burton, who had the problems, is 10th. Chastain 11th. Brandon Brown is 12th. And some games being played. We got a few takers, a bunch of them actually, Regan.
Well, the 2-car Tyler Reddick, they wanted that run to go just a little bit further. It's going to be fuel only right here for him, and they were going to send him with no adjustments on that race car. The 23 of John Hunter Nemechek on the right side of your screen, he's going to take 4 tires. That race car was too loose for him, has a dent in the nose from pushing somebody on the last restart. Jamie?
And Justin Allgaier just talked about how unhappy he was. You see the wedge wrench there, definitely making an adjustment to make it better. Just enough fuel to make it to the end. No tires, they are out. 7.
And as we exit pit road, Allgaier will be the second off. Reddick leads him. Jones, Haley, and Garrett Smithley also coming down to get service there. Jason Burdett making a change for his driver, Justin Allgaier. 6th caution of the day, courtesy of Tommy Joe Martins and Chase Briscoe.
Hold her down, lock her down.
We were talking during our commercial break about how surprised we were that Christopher Bell did not pit. There's a good reason why, Jamie.
I just checked with the team, and what they had said on the radio was don't slide him. Jason Ratcliffe said don't slide him. Well, Christopher didn't understand that. He thought they were doing something else. It was a miscommunication. He was supposed to pit, and now the 00 behind him or next to him, he was told do what the 20 did. Well, he followed suit. Regan?
Well, the 98 car, who appeared to have wonderful strategy right there by crew chief Richard Boswell for Chase Briscoe, when they spun, those were not fresh tires. So they had one set of tires left that they could come down and put on that race car to replace the flat-spotted ones when he brought out that last caution.
And Regan, there were a number of teams that made those pit stops that got fuel only. So when you look at strategy, we are all over the board in regard to when teams pitted, and if they got 4 tires, if they got 2 tires, or went fuel only. Everyone had 3 sets of tires in the pits when this race began. Here's Cole Custer.
We have to stop. We ain't got nothing to lose, bud. We got 3 wins in the bank. We're going for it here. We're obviously going to have to stop again, but we're going to get a late yellow and put 4 tires on and drive right by all of them.
Well, I like the confidence, but they're in a difficult position because of the fact that pretty much everybody but Bell and Custer and Williams there have already pitted, and if the caution comes out, they are not pitting. So you're going to have to pass all those guys. So it's always strange how all this stuff plays out, and honestly, the miscommunication is what led the 0-0 down that road on the 20 car.
First car on this restart that got tires will be that pitted under this caution rather is Tyler Reddick. He restarts 10th. You saw Mike Shiplett, his driver Cole Custer on the front row with Bell.
You know, we sit here and talk about the different strategies, who's got what tires, 2, 4 tires. That's what makes this sport fun. And for a first timer coming out, it's like, who's got what? What's going on? You don't know what's going to happen. Caution's going to play into whoever's hands, and it's not going to work in somebody else's favor. So it keeps you on the edge of the seat the whole time.
Hey, now Bell and Custer, we know they have to pit. Chastain is up there. He pitted at lap 73. He could be good to go. It will be close. 43 remaining. We're under green. Let's crank it up.
Clear up. Half back, outside, trying to roll you. 23 out there, use the pick. Still there. Still there. Still lined up out there. 23's with him. 8 no help with you. 20 come with you. Work to the bottom. 22 to the bottom with you. Still outside. Side's rolling up top, 2 ahead. Inside 11, still out there. 1 gap behind him. Going to close quick. Inside 11. Clear high. Still there. Gap behind him. You there? Still there. Lane up. Clear to the middle. Clear to the middle. Just the 11 to lane off. And that gap is gone. Still lined up outside. Side. Still there. Still inside. Let him got tire on inside corner. Still there. Inside corner. 22 still there. 11 was smoking there. Clear. Clear. Clear about half. To the right front. 2 wide. About half. Get it. Clear, clear, clear. One trying to come back, half back on the bottom. Still clear right with you though. Quarter. Back the door. Slide in, half back, 1 up. Straight line on exit, still half. All that behind. No pressure. Out back is working. Clean air. By himself. Clear up. All clear. From front of 22. Clear to the wall. Clear. 3 back, out of 3, 1 inside, 1 inside, 1 inside. I'm down there in 3, 4, out the back.
I feel like I say this at some point in every race, every week, but the big 3 are the top 3, Bell, Custer, and Reddick. And Reddick, we know, is good, or he's close on fuel. Could be the one that's really in position. Regan talked about the fact that he pitted at lap 78. He's 3rd behind Bell and Custer, who without a doubt have to come back down pit road. And if you look at recent weeks in this series, Reddick, Bell, and Custer, they just always seem to deliver.
Well, they've done it all year, and when you look at that stat, it backs it right up. And you know, I think you know, as you look at the things that they've done in the races that they've won, they deserve to be called the Big 3 for sure.
Absolutely, it's been fun to watch those 3 guys go at it and put on a show. So it'll be a nail biter all the way down to the end of the season.
Reddick 3rd right now, just under 4 seconds behind the top 2.
Do I need to save you any, or are we pretty good? A little bit. He's fine. We're fine. We're right on our number, so we'll have him saved here in just a little bit.
I wasn't even thinking about that. I was just trying to get by those guys. If it stayed green, I didn't want those 4 tires to get to us.
Yeah, and that's Channel 2 on the radio, so that has nothing. The driver's not hearing any of that. That's the crew chief and the spotter talking. But the things that I would be telling Tyler Reddick, whether you're close or you think you're close or you might make it, he's in the position where he can control his pace a little bit better. So he has a huge gap to 4th place. He's not racing the 2 cars in front of him. So right now Tyler Reddick needs to be, partial throttle in certain spots of the straightaway on few laps. He needs to be letting all the way out of the gas on the entry to the corner, doing everything he can to save some gas just in case.
What's the game plan from here on out for Chastain, Regan?
Well, you mentioned that they pitted last on lap 73, Adam. Doing the math that I did really quick, that's 52 laps. I asked crew chief Paul Clapper, can you make it or not? He simply said, we're not running for points, so we're going to try, that's for sure. One of the few benefits there are to the point situation they had come up this week with Ross Chastain switching to Truck Series points.
Can you imagine the irony of him coming here and winning this race after he had backed out of this championship chase? That would be incredible. Chastain is 5th. Bell leading with 36 to go. You saw in side-by-side that Ross Chastain going the wrong direction. He's back to 15th, and this is for the lead. Bell had the top spot, but Custer driving on by. He will go to the point with 31 to go, but you put an asterisk by all that because both are going to have to make a pit stop.
Yeah, I truly believe that Tyler Reddick and the 2 team are completely in the control of this race right now because of the fact that he should slow down and save gas and just make sure you make it on fuel because of the fact that he has such a gap back to 4th and he's not racing the guys in front of him. So he just needs to chill out, and they need to coach him through saving some fuel and just make sure he's got enough, because if the caution doesn't come out and he has enough gas in the car, he wins.
You just told Tyler Reddick to chill out.
Yeah. Let's see what they're saying on the team radio.
If those guys in front of us definitely can't make it, I can save it. Do you think they might be able to make it? I don't want to save. No, they certainly cannot make it. So when those 2 in front of you pit, you're going to be the leader. So we got to maintain the gap behind us, but we need to save a little fuel too. Let me know what pace you'd like me to run here.
Kevin, that's exactly why you're a championship race car driver, because your mind's in the same spot that theirs was. They can basically save as much fuel as possible right now because he has no pressure from behind, so he can lift early. He can do everything that they've been talking to him about and that you've been talking about up there in the booth. A very good spot for this 2 car right now.
Yeah, and Regan, I just believe that he can slow down more. I mean, his last lap was even with the leaders. This one is, a couple tenths slower, but in order to save enough gas, you need to slow down like a half a second. Just to make sure, because he's got nothing to lose right now to gain or keep up with those guys, and he's got nothing to lose behind him because he has a huge gap. So if he just maintains that gap behind him, he's going to be in good shape.
Regan?
To your point, Kevin, they have read him lap times every single lap that he's gone by, and they've been coaching him up. You can slow down more. You can slow down even more. You can take 2, 3, 4 more tenths off of it. So they are giving him everything he needs in that car right now to save that amount you're talking about.
Yeah, there you go. He just slowed up. So that's 4.5 tenths slower than he ran 2 laps ago. So now he's definitely dipping into the saving fuel category. So that's what good teams do. And you joke about slowing Tyler Reddick down. All you got to tell him is, hey, if you slow down, you're going to win. He's going to slow right down.
He's going to listen.
Noah Gregson's been through a lot today, but 7th right now, Jamie.
Yes, and he's certainly under attack by the 7 and 39 of Ryan Sieg, but they finally got that damage that he sustained on pit road. They got it fixed up just right, and on lap 75, they came down and topped off, so they are good to go on fuel. Now he's gained 2 spots since the restart, so one to keep an eye on as this winds down.
I think it's what we said earlier. Jamie said it right off the top. His confidence is back. 6th and 4th the last couple of weeks. He took that 2-week break early in May to reset. They've done it. They found speed, and he's answered the bell. And sometimes as a driver, you just need to step away. He's done it and regathered himself.
Well, everybody has a little bit different way of trying to reset their mind, and you have to do it a lot in this sport because you're going to have a lot of ups, you're going to have a lot of downs. People are going to take stabs at you to try to stir stuff up between your team, and that's when you really start to see the relationships of the driver and the crew chief and the team in itself and how you handle those things. So you have to be numb in this sport because it is going to beat you up at all different times.
4 series regulars have won in 2019. It's Custer, Bell, Reddick, and Annette, who are the top 4 on track right now at Michigan. 22 laps remaining at Michigan for the NASCAR Xfinity Series, and we have some drama. Who can make it on fuel? We understand full well Cole Custer, Christopher Bell, the top two, are going to have to make a pit stop. Tyler Reddick is third, and he is saving fuel. The question becomes, can he save enough to make it back to the checkered if we stay green? Look bottom left, the telemetry of the two car and how he's managing throttle here.
Yeah, yeah, it's perfect, man. Like I said, we're creating a buffer here.
You know, the best way to save right now is to let all the way out of the throttle, and a lot of times, you know, I think he's all the way out of the throttle right there for sure, as the telemetry shows. The other way to save fuel is to shut the engine off as you go in the corner and time it so that you push the clutch in all the way, and you know, then you turn the switch back on, and as you let the clutch back out, it will fire back up. So that's a little something that you have to, you know, kind of experiment with. But knowing Tyler Reddick, he's just going to drive it in there like normal, shut it off, flip it back on if that's what he's doing. I believe right now he's letting all the way out of the throttle so that. Yeah, it sounds like he's letting all the way out of the throttle, which is the best way to save fuel and lose the least amount of time as you're trying to save gas. And if you do it lap after lap and you back that up, and a lot of times you'll do that in practice, for us it's a little bit easier because we can see the telemetry and the fuel mileage that you have in the Cup cars.
Yeah, I think you also, you know, now that we're starting to get into lap traffic, use lap traffic for the draft so you can kind of roll out and let their momentum carry you down the straightaway a little bit so you don't have to use all the ponies.
You know, you were saying earlier about Allgaier, we're getting late in the race, and here comes the 7. Same can be said for Chase Briscoe, who's up to 9th. In fact, here's Briscoe and Allgaier together. Let's listen to Allgaier's radio.
Well, we got to go because the 98's coming.
Yeah, obviously. I'm not trying to just ride around here.
Kind of sounds it.
Listen, I'll let you drive it. I'm telling you, I'm pushing at 10-10. I got nothing else. That's all I got.
A frustrated Justin Allgaier talking to Jason Burdett, his crew chief. He has been all over the map today, from edgy to free. Now he's too tight. Just missed it from the start of this race.
Don't you love when the crew chief says you're just riding around?
Yeah. All right, we need to go a little bit here. All right, man. What do you think I've been doing? I've been going as hard as I can go. Maybe it looks slow, but it's a handful inside the car. And that's basically what Justin Allgaier just said was, I'm going as hard as I can go, but it's a handful.
Yes.
It's kind of like that play-by-play producer relationship, you know? You know, Briscoe is not out of this thing. He had the spin. They put on the tires that they had saved that Regan talked about, but he last pitted at lap 80. He's in the best position of anybody just when you look at lap number. And, well, I think Burdett might have motivated Allgaier. Did you see him weaving through there in that 7?
Hey. When I don't know me personally, but when somebody pisses me off like that, I drive a little bit harder.
Yeah, I'm the same way. There's going to be a couple cars run out of gas. So it's so hard to tell, you know, exactly where we stand with what the numbers are, who's saving what. And you know, I think as you look at Chase Briscoe, he's starting to put a lot of pressure on these guys because of the fact that he has plenty of gas. Everybody else has gone into fuel conservation mode because you can tell that it's kind of going into this green flag run type of feel of a race. So when you have a car like Chase Briscoe who's got enough gas, he puts a lot of pressure on people to do things that they don't want to do, to drive harder because of the fact that they want to keep the track position, but they also want to save gas. So you get in this limbo spot of what do we do?
You start in his position. He can control his race and their race as well. So that's the power of being on the good side of having enough fuel.
It's funny because Jason Burdett and Justin Allgaier have been together since Allgaier came back over to Junior Motorsports running in the Xfinity Series. You hear that exchange, and we're all comfortable with it because you know the relationship that these two have. It's like a couple of brothers that just want the best for everybody on that race team.
Yeah, no doubt. It's your family, so you can have those conversations with each other, talk about it, and move on from it. But you know, when an outsider looking in and hears that, it's like, geez, you know. But that might be the thing he needed to fire him up and start, you know, charging back ahead.
You see, when everybody made their last pit stop of those running in the top 10, we just heard Bell is 7 laps short. So you would say probably the same for Custer. And down now to 14 to go. So I'd say the next 5-6 laps is when we'll see them make a pit stop. And their time is running out if we were get a caution to come down and put on tires and make gains there.
Yeah, the problem is just getting more complicated for them as we run more laps, because you have less laps if the caution does come out to pass the cars that you want to pass. And then if you pit under green, obviously your day's done. So either way, to me, they're in a tough spot right here unless the caution comes out, and they're getting close to their pit window. So they're going to have to pit because they're going to be out of gas. But going back to the fuel savings side of it, and talking about Chase Briscoe and the things that he's able to do to go forward. As a driver, for me, I always like to try to save as much gas as I could at the beginning of the run.
Same.
Because you just never know when you're going to get in a position with a car like Chase Briscoe, who has enough gas to go, that puts you in a bind, and you want to try to protect that position. Yep. So you have to be able to protect, but you also have to save gas. And to me, I always wanted to do that as early in the run as possible.
It's give and take. Give and take with positions, give and take with fuel strategy. It's just, it all comes down to that. You got to be smart and put yourself in the best position possible.
Now, I feel like every time we pop up, Nemechek, Jones, Chase Briscoe, they are just going at it. 8th, 9th, and 10th. Where does Michigan rank in regard to difficulty saving fuel, conserving over a long run? Because this is such a high-speed track with so much throttle time if you're conventional.
He's the old guy. He has more experience.
Here comes Bell.
Going to come down with 11 laps remaining. Heading towards you, Jamie.
And Christopher Bell, they just told him once again, don't slide him. Remember, he made the mistake earlier, miscommunication, didn't pit when he should have. He'll bring it down, no tires, about 2.5 seconds of fuel in order to make it to the end. And the 00 on the right side, they're ready, they're getting on the wall. He should be coming in the next lap or two as well.
Scheduled green flag pit stop for Bell. Saw the 36 of Josh Williams also making his stop. He too had last pitted at lap 63. Now it's Cole Custer's turn.
You tend to go at the line here. Either at the line, 00s on pit road. Nice and smooth, still focusing on those 3930s.
That's Reddick's radio as Custer pits. Jamie?
And once again, it'll be gas only, about 2 seconds of fuel for Cole Custer, last week's winner. Remember, he and Bell both have 3 wins in the bank. Unfortunately, though, they were 2 of the best cars today, and now looks like their chances are over.
Now let's hear the radio from Tyler Reddick.
But they want to get back to those 3930s here. Let's look for that, 3930s. Don't tell me we're good if we're not. Be straightforward with me. I have no problem slowing down. No, man, we're good. We're just making sure if the caution comes out, we need some for green light checkers, pal.
Randall Burnett, the crew chief. That team has already won twice this year, once at Talladega, once at Charlotte. And as it cycles, Reddick has a 3-second lead over Michael Annett. That moves this duo, Briscoe and Nemechek, to 7th and 8th on track.
Well, so, Tyler Reddick, sorry. Tyler Reddick's last 2 laps have been substantially slower than those 30s. He's run a 60 and a 70 the last 2 laps, and I'm glad they said the number that they're shooting for, because a lot of times that's what happens on the pit box. The engineers and the crew chief agree on a lap time and a savings over a certain amount of laps as to what a certain lap time will save you. So the one thing I will say, if they are close on gas, the car behind them has picked up the pace to 39.30s, and that's Michael Annett, who had been running 70s and 80s. So he has taken the early in the run strategy, and now he's picked up the pace.
And what I was going to say is, it's in this series they don't have the digital dashes, right?
Right.
So for us on Sundays, we can run a lap, slow down our pace, and see what lap time we run. These guys, they're kind of a guessing game until they kind of get into a rhythm, and it's really crucial for the crew chief and the engineers to relay that info back, like, all right, that's what we need.
100%. You know, the crew chief and the spotter and the engineer are the lifeblood to the driver at this point, to tell them what you did the last lap, like you were saying, from a lap time standpoint. And it is so crucial because, you know, for Reddick, it has kind of been a little bit slower than what they had been running the last 4 or 5 laps now.
Next couple of laps, watch Noah Gragson. He's been driving hard, which is fine, but he pitted earlier than Menard did. So you take away the advantage on fuel. You consider how hard he's pushing it. He might be one of those candidates, as Kevin said. We're going to have somebody, maybe many, run out of gas here in these last few laps.
Why do I have a feeling that Reddick's just kind of like playing a game? He's just like, I'm going to keep running these 70s, let them catch me, and then do something crazy. I have that feeling about it.
Well, you never can tell with him.
You can't. You cannot.
I'm just keeping an eye on his advantage. It was 2.3 down to 2.1.
Yeah, and you see Michael Annett here, who we talked about a minute ago, who had done a really good job of running the pace that we talked about. That was a little bit slower, about a half a second slower than Tyler Reddick. And you know, I think as Tyler Reddick looks in the mirror, he's trying to manage the gap back to Michael Annett to make sure that he's keeping the gap that he feels comfortable with. And a lot of times as a driver, you're like, okay, my car's doing this. I feel like I can go this fast. I feel comfortable with, you know, this amount of give up to the way that your car is handling. So there's a lot of things that go into how fast you go and how much you save and how much you let off and the things that you do inside the car. And you know more than what your guys know sitting on the pit box as to how your car is driving and what the gap is you feel comfortable with.
And to all the people that say we just sit there and turn left, we do way more than that.
You look at the top 5, there's some guys here that don't have much to lose. Reddick's won twice. He's in. Annett won at Daytona. He's in the playoffs. Menard not running for points. He has nothing to lose. Gregson maybe a little bit to lose because he doesn't have this enormous advantage over the playoff cut line. Allgaier's in good shape. And then there's Brandon Jones, who is 6th. He comes in on the playoff bubble. That gives you an idea of the different set of circumstances for all these drivers, depending on how it plays out and if one of them, were eventually to run out of fuel.
Well, and for us, we just don't know how much they saved at the beginning of the run and what their pace was and the conversations. There's just so much going on with each car that we can't keep up with all of it. So, but we're coming down to crunch time here and coming to 3 to go, and we will soon find out.
It is 3 remaining this time for Tyler Reddick. Going back to Cole Custer and Christopher Bell, who made those pit stops. Custer is 12th right now. Bell is in the 15th position.
Good battle for second here.
Menard turning it on late. Started on the pole, led 56 laps today, more than anybody else. Got the victory in the opening stage. The advantage for Reddick down to 1.7 seconds. And that likely means he's just continuing to help his fuel mileage. Going to be 2 remaining, 4 miles to go for Tyler Reddick at Michigan.
Yeah, and as a driver in this position, you really don't know. And especially when you're a guy like Paul Menard, who's sitting here running 30, he's like, well, if the leader runs out of gas, I need to get around this one car.
Yep.
And, you know, I don't know their conversations or anything that's happening. Noah Gregson's thinking the same thing. It's like, well, if that guy runs out of gas, I need to be in front of this car. So it's just a cat and mouse game at this point.
Been fun to watch this group. Annett, Menard, and Gregson. But they're going to run out of time and run out of opportunity, most likely, to catch Tyler Reddick, who sees the white flag. 1 lap to go. Sponsored by Credit One Bank.
Gregson making a big charge here. Good run for him.
Won the championship for Junior Motorsports. New team in 2019, no problem for Tyler Reddick.
Don't worry about getting in hard. Just float it off in there. Got no pressure. Still by 15. Nice and easy. Bring it home.
Anxious times on the pit box for his mother, who is here to witness another victory. For the 5th time in the last 3 races, it's going to be the 2-car in victory lane. Tyler Reddick does it at Michigan.
Got it done.
Hell yeah, guys. Hell yeah. Great job, Tyler. Great job saving there. Great job, man. Great job, everybody. Really proud of y'all. It's been a hell of a year. That's the way to steal one. I appreciate it, guys. That's a great day for us. Thank you.
Great job, fellas. Number 3 on the board there. That's awesome. Hey, we didn't steal anything. We had a car plenty capable of winning here. It just wasn't going our way at the beginning. It mattered the most here at the end, and we made it happen. Nice work.
And that's a great job by that team. And, you know, we talked about so much there in that last run, but those guys knowing the lap time that they needed to run, relaying it to their driver, and executing a plan to manage that gap, and that's a great team effort.
Yeah, RCR's really turned around their Xfinity program over the last couple of years, and it's showing today. They put a lot of hard work into these cars, and it's finally paying off.
Well, we talked so much about chemistry, and I mentioned this earlier in the race, and Tyler Reddick and Richard Childress they're an interesting pair, because Richard loves the way that, in my opinion, the way that Tyler Reddick drives, but he's also a great coach to keep the reins on him enough to keep the fenders on the cars and keep reality, in check to make sure that you're finishing these races.
Each of the big three now have 3 trophies on the campaign. Reddick joining Bell and Custer, capturing the hat trick here this afternoon. And that average finish coming in that was 4.2 is going to get a little bit better.
I was going to say, don't run too fast. We'll have to categorize that as exercise. That dude's awesome.
He got winded halfway
awesome,
up.
Man, he's so. I don't know him well, but he sure is fun to listen to and watch race.
It actually sounded like he was serious when he was asking about fuel strategy, as where before early in the race he was laughing it off.
You look at what he's accomplished. Had some good days driving for Brad Keselowski in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series. Part-time in Xfinity a couple of years ago, wins for Chip Ganassi. Gets the title as a rookie last year at Junior Motorsports. He's now won with 3 different teams, and 2019 has been really special for him. Thanks, Chris. We'll see you in a bit. Right now, we're heading to Victory Lane. Tyler Reddick is there, and so is Jamie Little.
It is Twisted Tea time in Victory Lane. A big swig of that. Tyler Reddick and this team, they never gave up improving your car to get it where it needed to be, but how hard were you working inside that seat to save fuel as it came down to a fuel mileage race?
Man, I just didn't want to burn a lot of fuel there. I'm not going to lie to you, I just got some a twisted T in my eye like Regan did at Talladega, and that stuff burns a little bit, but our KCMG Chevrolet was really good. I made some mistakes on pit road, and we didn't get the track position till the end there when Randall made the call he did. So, all in all, great team effort. I didn't do the thing I needed to do out at the racetrack, but man, that was a great car, and we just put ourselves in position to win.
Richard Childress just came up and congratulated you. 3 wins on the season. What can you say about this team and yourself and what you guys have been able to accomplish? We're not even officially at the halfway point.
Yeah, we just bring great race cars to the track every week. All the guys back at the shop working super hard on these Chevy Camaros, and it's all the guys at Rich Childress Racing, outstanding effort every single day throughout the week. Their efforts back at the shop and the hours they spend from morning to afternoon every single day is what's paying off and getting us back to victory lane so often so far this year.
Tyler Reddick, he is your new points leader. Regan?
Well, Noah Gregson, a career best second place finish for you. We looked at the front of that race car. There was a lot of damage on that race car. How did you pull that off with that much damage?
Yeah, it was challenging. We got ourselves in a hole there second stage during the pit stops, and I think the 19 checked up and I hit him and just nowhere to go on pit road, and so we had to go to the back, but great effort by everybody on my switch team at Junior Motorsports. They rallied, they never quit, just like me. We just keep on going until the finish, and strong 3 weeks for myself and this team. We just got to keep on digging. Just super thankful. Thanks to everybody at JRM and the Fab Shop, Hendrick Motors, everybody who makes it possible at Chevrolet to let us come out here. There's, I think, 3 JRM cars in the top 5, so we're making those baby steps. I want to win. I want to beat that damn 2 so bad, but man, just frustrated. But I know we can race with these guys, and just going to keep on plugging away, baby steps from here, and just super thankful to be here.
Noah alluded to it, a very strong couple weeks for you after the off week. We're going to step next door here to your teammate Michael Annette. Michael, it was a very good day for Junior Motorsports. 3rd place for you, one of the 3 cars in the top 5 for Junior Motorsports. Tell me about your day and the fact that you almost were up there and able to get that first win since Daytona.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I don't know how much Tyler was playing the fuel strategy. I know we were really tight, and he was on the same plan, so I think Noah was too. So. Just a really great call by Travis Mack to come in when we did, get 4 tires, fill it up, and we came in and splashed off with 1 to go, and we're able to stay out and get that track position. That's what today was all about. But you got to unload fast. Fast cars are going to run up front and put ourselves in the position to play that strategy. So we did. So thank you to everybody at JRM. Allstate Parts and Service Group came on board for the first time this weekend. So good to get them in the top 5. Get us back in the top 5. You and I have talked. Top 10s are good, but they're kind of a moot point in this series anymore. You got to be up there for wins and bonus points. So we're up there. We got a chance for them now, so that's good. And we're having a lot of fun.
All right, good run, Michael. Jamie?
And Cole Custer brings it home 12th. He led 20 laps, but how frustrating at that moment when you came down. Well, you guys skipped it because you were staying with the 20 you didn't pit. How hard was that for you?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, I didn't know how it was all going to work out. If a caution came out, we would have probably worked out fine. But, our Jacob Company's Mustang was just so good there at the end. I've never run that good here, and that was by far the best car I've ever had. And that was, it was about perfect. So, it just all didn't work out. But I can't thank everybody at Stewart Haas. Everybody at Ford, I wish I could go in here in their backyard, but, we'll get them next time.
Thanks, Cole. Regan?
Well, the 3rd of the Junior Motorsports cars that was in the top 5, Justin Allgaier, 5th place finish for you. But that was a struggle today. You guys had a frustrating day to get 5th place.
We really did. I don't know what happened. Our brand professional agriculture Camaro was pretty good in practice yesterday, and we just kept battling different handling conditions throughout the course of the race, and at the end they're just extremely tight, trying to push as hard as you can. But hats off to the guys. We had good pit strategy there and good pit stops all day. Got us track position. Just a frustrating day, man. We gonna have to figure out what we were missing. Go back to the drawing board, figure out what we were missing. But like I said, everybody at Junior Motorsports, everybody on this 17's been working really hard, and we'll keep digging at it. We got to find a little bit of speed for before the playoffs, but we'll get there.
All right, thanks, Justin. Jamie?
John Hunter Nemechek brings it home 8th. Talked about this guy quite a bit today and your efforts at this track. Take us through and how you finished.
Yeah, it's a strong run for our Allegiant GMS Chevy Camaro. Overall day was pretty solid. We put 2 pretty good stages together, I felt like. didn't adjust big enough there at the end. I wish we would have had a little bit bigger adjustment, but I didn't like the way that we started off free, and it didn't really change throughout the stages before that. So biggest balance shift was there at the end. We didn't adjust for it, and it kind of cost us. We're running third there, or would have been third with Paul. And then we got way too tight and lost all of our momentum and track position. So overall, solid day. Good weekend for us, though, as a team and organization. Unloading with speed and continuing to grow on that and try and put a solid race together. So another top 10 for us. Just keep the momentum rolling, and look forward to going to Iowa next week.
And happy birthday on Tuesday.
Thank you.
Regan.
Well, Paul Bernard, the first of 2 scheduled Xfinity starts for you this season. Looked very good early on. We thought you might be the dominant car. Faded just a little bit late there, but still a 4th place run. Did you take anything from today you can use tomorrow?
Yeah, I think so. It's kind of interesting how the lines kind of moved around. I could make time on the bottom, and normally you can't here. Car was really fast out front, a little bit on the loose side. Then you get behind. It's kind of like you have to adjust for it more when you get in traffic, and I just a little too tight at the end. But all in all, proud of all the 12 guys, Matt Swiderski, everybody on the Richmond, Menards, Ford Mustang. To sit P1, we had speed in the car. Probably just one adjustment off at the end.
Regan, Jamie, take a deep breath. Unbelievable hustle by our pit reporters post-race. The only one faster today, Tyler Reddick. He gets the big victory. It's all over for the NASCAR Xfinity Series at Michigan International Speedway.